Okay, this is my first Photoshop um, thing, and doing this picture of a woman on the street. Um, so I gave a little background history of this picture and why I decided to do it in Photoshop. Uh, well, for one thing, it's been a while since I've did one of these, especially a black and white one. So I wanted to do something a picture that I basically admired, and so I chose this one. I saw it on Facebook. One of my friends, I can't remember who, posted a link, and the link was like it was a guy who was taking pictures of his wife. This is the lady in the picture, and she developed cancer, and so like since after once she developed cancer, he like took pictures of her every day. So there's like another picture of him cutting her hair right before, I guess right before chemo or something like that. But so I don't know how far along she is in this picture or anything like that. But I thought this picture was the picture's really nice. Um, I think it's shot nice. I think she has a nice, pleasant, sort of pleasant look on her face. You know, it doesn't look like it was set up. You know, it's sort of a spirit of the moment. He saw it and he wanted to take a picture of it. So I thought it would be nice to do. Um, it's in black and white, so it made it a little easier for me. I didn't have to try to figure out how it's going to look black and white with the color damage. So that made things a little easier. Um, Also with this picture, this Photoshop picture, I had the beginning, but when I went to record it, I didn't realize that the video stopped at like 1 minute. So you don't get to see exactly how I started the picture. And the way I tend to do my Photoshop pictures, especially the black and white ones, I have it's different than anything I've ever seen anybody else do. So um, I start off with all black, and I just basically like block the person off or the thing off. You know, instead of starting off with the color that I'm going to use or the shade I'm going to use. Sorry about that. I usually just start off with black. That's why the coat is black. All that start off is complete black, and then I kind of like with the black, I kind of rough out the shape of the picture, and then I fill it in with sort of like the base shade after that. And I guess it could be like a bad way of a bad way of doing it, but um, I don't know, I guess I'm used to it, so it doesn't cause that many problems. Now, if this was a color video, then I wouldn't do it that way. Um, this picture took me about with the video that you don't get to see, it took me maybe about 10 hours to complete. Um, a lot of uh, touch-ups kept going back and forth. As you can see, like I keep switching the background. I went with the mid gray because I didn't want to. I wanted to be able to judge my color, my shades better, but it wasn't working out for me, so I had to switch to white. That way, I can definitely see the shape on the background. I think the biggest troubles I had with the whole picture was probably the eyes, which you'll see me go over a couple of times. and hmm, yeah, it's pretty much the eyes and maybe like the shape of the face, which I'm going over right now. Oh, another different thing that I do, I've never seen it. Well, I don't go around checking. Um, I don't go around checking YouTube all the time to see how people do their pictures, but from the ones I've seen, I've never seen anybody do their pictures quite like the way I started off, and also how I keep going. So I don't constantly um, just paint over stuff. I kind of like intentionally mess up. You know, I put a lot of the color down, and then I use the opposite color to fix it. So I don't try to make a perfect circle when I'm putting down whatever it is to make that circle. I try to get the circle as best I can, and then the color, the shade that's around it, I use that to fix the circle. Um, maybe people do that. I don't know. I guess I don't pay enough attention. Throughout this video, I use pretty much one brush, and as you can see, I keep making a mistake and pressing the Windows key. That's why the start menu keeps popping up. Kept hitting it by mistake instead of the Alt. These damn eyes, man. So this video is going about 16 times the speed, the normal speed. Like I said, if I would have kept it regular, it would have been about 8 hours, and then I was missing maybe about 2 hours from the beginning of the whole thing. So right about now, the face is starting to look like her face because before it wasn't quite looking at it like that. And I used the mask, the little circle, to try to judge the eyes. Because every time I looked at the eyes, they just looked like the the eyes were just too big. You know, the iris and everything was just too big for some reason. And so I just keep going over it. That section of the eye looked too big. This is the eyes over and over again. I gotta keep trying to fix that part. So yeah, all this video is condensed from 8 hours. Um, and that 8 hours was in about 3 actual days of sitting now. 4 days total because one day I got in the house late and I couldn't, I didn't want to start it while I was tired. So this is about 4 days of work. I mean, 3 days of work, uh, about 10 hours total. Some of the pauses that you might see during the video, they might be hard to see, but some of the pauses is me trying to measure. And so I didn't want to pull anything from the original picture at all. I didn't want to take any samples from it. I didn't want to use any lines to try to measure anything or anything like that. So what I would do is, just take my fingers and measure certain sections of the original photo with my fingers and then measure mine to see if they were lining up sort of similar. Um, so I think that helped me out quite a bit because if I didn't do that, I probably would have the proportions might not have been too great. And as you can see at the beginning, I had the ear too far off, so the measuring helped out quite a bit. I also noticed later on that The darks aren't as dark on her face as it is in the original photo. From the just looking at it from mine, it looks good, but every time I look back, especially if it's from a distance and I look back at the original photo, I look at mine, you know, it looks like, man, I could have used some more darks in it, especially around the eyes and the mouth and the nose. So the eyes, mouth, and nose probably could use a bit more darks in it. I didn't do too much on the lips, but I think the lips turned out pretty good. Also, with this, the jacket, I couldn't make up my mind. Um, you'll see in a little bit that I started off with all black. Well, I was gonna keep black, but I started off all black. Then I went to this dark gray. Then I'm lighting it back up again. I'm darkening it back up again. Bouncing back and forth, trying to figure out what would be the best color, the best shade. Sorry about all the color talk. Best shade. I want nobody going crazy about me saying the wrong thing. So once I switched to this dark shade, I decided to use that as the base color, sort of, so that now um, when I put the lighter colors on, then I'll just have the lighter color on and have spots in there, so that color I just had, that dark shade I have right there will stand out as like the shadow instead of me constantly putting shadows down. That's right there, me trying to test out the color, the shades, figure out which one I want to go with, how dark, I mean how light. And there we go again, covering all back up again. And I had to fix the neckline. And so now I'm putting these down, not as far as it being, this is exactly what it's going to be, but I need something there so I can judge where everything else is on the jacket. And this will help me figure out where I should put other things on the jacket so that it makes sense. So right there, that's the shirt. I guess that's the shirt. And I keep bouncing around, especially when I start doing the jacket. Start bouncing around everywhere. Go back and do the ear. That way, I don't get too stagnant on one thing, and when I come back to the jacket or come back to whatever else, then it'd be kind of fresh. Kind of I might see some things that I didn't notice before. Now I'm not too great on ears, because I haven't been really doing them like that. So, and I think the way I did her ear, it's just not you can tell it's an ear, and I don't think it looks terrible or anything like that, but it doesn't have as much of a feel like her face does. Um, I think the face, got a little bit more loving than the ear did. I try to decide should I put in the eyelashes or not, and then I decided, yeah, I should keep going. So I was worried about putting the eyelashes on, messing the eyelashes up to some extent, and then having to redo everything I did already. Okay, so here we go with the jacket, and like I said, I was using that dark to be the shade. So that's just I use that for the stitching on the jacket. I'm also going to use it for some of the shading, even though I'm getting rid of most of it right now. But I try to use it definitely for the stitching. Don't mind that bell. This is my alarm. So yeah, so now I'm trying to do all the stitching to also get me a good idea where things are supposed to go. Also cleaning things up. So I do a lot of cleaning or straightening out lines either with the opposite shade or with the eraser. I try not to, make a specific shape or something like that with the main shade or color that I'm going to use. But instead, like I said before, kind of rough it out, get a pretty good idea, and then use the opposite shade or whatever beside it, or use the eraser to the fix it so it can be a little bit more straight. Oh, also another thing that earrings. Um, this is probably like the second pair, maybe the third pair of earrings I've ever done in Photoshop. So um, not quite sure yet how to do metals. And that was my attempt. And again, there was a little patches right there just for color, just to see, I mean shade, to see which one I should use, which one will work better on the jacket and which one is not. So I needed basically two different shades for it. So you got your highlight, you got your sort of highlight, or I guess it would be your mid. Well, yeah, I'll give it. It's sort of like a highlight. One of them is just like sort of the highlight, and then the other one is the brighter highlight, basically. And then you have sort of your mid-tone dark, which is the main shade I got on the jacket, the one that takes up most of the space right now. And then the darker one, which is the stitching. But I'm gonna darken that up even more. So I guess the neck was a sticking point too. I went over that quite a bit, so I wasn't quite sure if this is what I wanted to do. Um, so this right here, I probably got up to do something, and I don't think I could. This screen capture program, I don't think I could pause it, so I just left it on. As I was going through this, and I was working on the jacket, periodically I would look up. At times I look at the preview screen of the picture I'm working on, and that way I can see how it looks at a distance, so I don't have to keep zooming in and out all the time. And you could, well, for me, I like to do something with a shade, mess with a shade, try to blend it in, and look how it looks. Look at it through the preview, and if it stands out pretty well from the preview, then I usually go with that instead of um, looking at it through the main window and constantly seeing if it works out or not. Because the preview, everybody's not going to see the picture up close. So if it looks good far away, then that's that's like the good point, to get it to look good at a distance. So that person that's looking at it from far away can still tell what everything is and all. So this is me like trying to give this jacket some depth. Um, Whole bunch of shading and blending going on here. So I went about the jacket differently than I did the skin. Because the skin I wouldn't just throw down slap a color down. I mean slap a shade down and then try to blend the outsides of it. Um, and usually I'm like blending while I'm going. So I wouldn't do the whole face and slaps of color, of shade, color or shade, and then come back and blend it. I usually try to do it at the same time, but this is different. There you go. I had to add in a darker color because the shade. God damn, I had to add in a darker shade because the shade that I had was it started to look a little too light. It was starting to sort of like blend in with what I already had. So now I have to add in some more highlights so I can get the darks to stand out more. So the jacket is sort of coming together now. It's still not quite where I want it to be, but um, you can definitely see sort of like a sort of the wrinkle effect going on there. Go around to work on the button. And this button, pretty easy, quote unquote, easy to do. But when I pulled back, I saw that the button holes, the yarn holes weren't quite in the right spot. They were too far away. But I think at a distance, definitely it looks like a button. So I think that's the most important thing to get it to look like a button. Now, I mean, granted, I'm trying to get the picture to look like her, but for me, it's not, as of right now, it's not a thing for me to make it exactly like my reference. I want to get it to the point where if her husband happened to see this picture, then he would know exactly who it is. But it doesn't have to be uh, so close that it's basically like photorealistic of image. At least as of right now, I'm still working on. I'm still trying to get better at doing Photoshop. So um, as of right now, that's how it is. I just wanna I just wanna get it to a point where people see it and they're like, okay, all right, I get it, I see who this is. So right now, I'm probably checking in the preview while I'm doing her eyebrows, looking how the shade looks, how it's blending on the cheeks and on around the mouth and all. And I think this is around the time that I decide to start messing with the shades again, or I'm moving on to the hair. Yeah, moving on to the hair. Yeah. So this is another part that's no added stuff. She doesn't have that much hair going every which way, but I think adding this much breaks up the look of her of the sort of blocked out hair that I had at the beginning. So it makes it look a little bit more realistic because of it. And I'm putting in shade for her hair, the shadow, the soft shadow for my hair. I'm putting in extra strands of hair and the little bit of part there, and then the highlighted hair strands give it more of a more depth in it. You go checking out the picture and make sure everything's looking all right. And gotta add in the moles. Try to blend them in a little bit better. And I noticed that the ear just doesn't look like it's missing some type of shades, some type of darker shades or something. It's missing something. So now I get to this point where I'm trying to add a little bit of distortion to the face to break it up a little bit. But I didn't add as much, and I did it before on another picture, but I couldn't remember exactly how I did it. So I only did a little bit and I just moved on. I also put it on the wrong layer. I also added some of the shade to the wrong layer. Um, Now here I go trying to change the forehead, and let me do it around the cheek again. Trying to fix the shade. I was going to do a round soft brush and try to blend it in like that. That was like my original idea. Use a soft brush to blend everything in. But as I went on longer and longer doing this picture, I figured, it doesn't look bad with just the brush that I'm using right now. So now I'm trying to put in this background, and I'm using the original photo's background as a guide. Um, and I sort of was original thinking that, I could try to sort of block everything in, instead of just doing one part or doing what I just have right here. I'm gonna try to do the whole thing, and kind of like change my mind towards the end of the video. It just was it just wasn't turning out right, and the main reason it was it wasn't turning out right is because I kind of wasn't putting as much effort into it. That's one thing. Two, a lot of it was at a diagonal angle, and so it was harder for me because I wasn't used to it. I'm not used to it of trying to use the tablet, the Wacom tablet, at an angle like that and still have straight lines. I guess it would have been better if I would just did it straight down and then rotated it. But so I started trying to do the whole building thing and just regular shapes, not no serious detail on it. So I was kind of like blocking out some doors and trying to do a tree. And I had to change the darkness because of the tree. It seemed a little too dark for the doorways. The doorways should have been darker, I guess. So another tree. And as I'm getting to this point, I'm thinking, I guess I have to do all of it now, or majority of it, since I'm doing all these trees and stuff. So I start trying to add this in, this little shop area. And I start thinking, oh, I should add in the lines for the bricks. And I run into this problem, which you probably see. So don't judge me on this. The perspective, I know the perspective is off like hell for this building, but I started realizing that my perspective is off, like halfway up, and then I was like, you know what? Let me just put these lines, continue to just make these lines, and it'll be all right. Um, so yeah, and signed it, and then this is what I did. I decided not to keep the photo the way it was. I added some noise to it to sort of make her look like she was actually in a photo, and then I blurred the background. Um, and that's what I came up with. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I should be having some more coming soon, but yeah, thanks.